And this meeting, of course, is being done remotely, which means that all votes will be done via roll call vote. I'll now review what's on the agenda tonight. We will approve the minutes of our regular meeting from December 15, 2020. We will then move on to community relations, announcements, and open forum, followed by appointments and resignation. Under that heading, we have municipal building committee appointment. And number 5, so we have scheduled appointments. At 6:45, we have a poll hearing on Oxford Road, for Oxford Road rather. At 7 o'clock, FinCom, our finance committee, will be joining us to discuss the FY22 budget and the budget calendar and open the annual town meeting warrant. We will then move on to new business, followed by old business. And under that heading, we have reconstitute stipend advisory committee and appointments. We also have human resource assistant and the police chief search. Under that, we have the Board of Selectmen committee reports, followed by Board of Selectmen policy review, Board of Selectmen goals and objectives, student select person report, town, hi Henry, I just saw you join, town administrator report, other business unknown at time of posting, and then finally our next meeting, and it will be, our next regular meeting will be January 26th at 6:30 p.m. And I know my peers will be extremely disappointed to hear, major sarcasm inserted here, there is no executive session tonight.
What?
I know, right?
Come on.
It's the first in a long time. So moving on back up to approval of the minutes of our regular meeting on December 15th, 2020.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair, moved as written.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, Steve?
Aye.
David?
Abstain.
Bill?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. So thank you. That motion passes. Minutes of our December 15th meeting are approved. The next item on the agenda, it will be the community relations, announcements, and open forum. What I'll do first is I will read the announcements that I have before me, and then we will open it up to the public. If anyone has anything that they want to mention tonight, they're welcome to chime in. Just raise your hand or send us a note. And all we ask is that you identify yourself when you speak and you keep it to 2 or 3 minutes if possible. All right. That being said, the first announcement I'd like to make, first and foremost, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen and the town of Charlton, I extend heartfelt sympathies to the families impacted by the recent tragedy, the murder-suicide that occurred in our town on January 2nd. We also extend sincere thanks to the numerous first responders who helped to mitigate the situation. And I would also like to mention or remind our community that there is a community-based resource in our area. I believe the newest branch or the closest one is in Southbridge. And they're there to help people cope with domestic violence situations. It's called Project New Hope. A 24-hour toll-free hotline is available to survivors and witnesses to violence, as well as to concerned family members, friends, co-workers, and neighbors who may need support. The number is 1-800-323-HOPE or 4673. Thank you. The next announcement I have here, it will be from the clerk, and they are saying that the 2021 dog licenses are now available through the town clerk. Check www.townofcharlton.net for details to pay online, drop payment in Dropbox, or mail payment. Call the town clerk's office for any questions at 508-248-2249. My next announcement is nomination papers are now available for the May 1st, 2021 elections, town elections. Details and the list of open seats are on the town website, town clerk's page. Please call for questions and process during COVID town hall closure. And on that note, I would just like to take a minute to mention that I currently occupy seat 1 on the select board. David, you're seat 2, correct? You got that?
Seat 2. Yes.
I will not, however, be seeking re-election. It's truly been an honor and a privilege to serve the town in this capacity, and my sincere thanks to the citizens for affording me the opportunity to work on behalf of this wonderful community. On that note, too, I will also remind folks, if we recently appointed you to a board or a committee, please make sure that, you should have received your confirmation letter, but that you make sure you go to the clerk's office to get sworn in before that first meeting. Thank you.
Hey, Karen, before you go too far,
Yes, Bill.
hey, I'm sure we'll say more later, but I just want to say thank you to you on this, in that I've really met someone as passionate as you when it
Sure,
comes
Bill, hit me up with the pass.
that actually impact you and impact residents of the town. Even when there's disagreements, you always are fact-based. You really take a look at the holistic view of things, and you listen to both sides. But when you make up your mind, you make up your mind, regardless of if it's popular or unpopular, whatever, because you've done what you think is right. And I think that's a true sign of a professional. I think it's a sign of someone who is not a politician, someone who is a servant. And you should be commended for that. And I just want to say, honestly, you're going to be missed.
Well, I really appreciate that, Bill. I really do. And it's been a pleasure working with all of you. Anyway, let's move on. Thank you, though. Yes, David. Yes, David.
Right.
No, he started. He cut
$5
Hey.
to the person who can make her cry. Just want to throw it out
He
there.
wanted to be first. That's fine. I know we will adjust this again, but so as Karen alluded, and as she wants to, I have already pulled my papers this morning. I've already begun gathering my signatures. I am running for re-election, and I'd like to take the opportunity, since you've announced that you're not running. We agree, we disagree. And to Bill's point, you're a fighter. I like that. You're passionate. But I'll tell you one thing: whether we agreed or we disagreed, you're always nice to me. You never treated me with disrespect. You were never disrespectful to me. You're always professional to me. You've always treated me well. And, I appreciate that, especially when it's someone, if we're on the same side, great. But when you're on the opposite side of an issue, to have the person with the opposite viewpoint treat you with respect, it says a lot. And, I just wanted you to know that, and that meant a lot as well.
Thank you. I appreciate all the kind words. I really do.
Yeah,
Oh, you haven't served with her long enough.
Steve, yes, Steve.
Corona, sit down. You got nothing.
Steve, did you have something else to say? Not about me per se.
No, not to bring you to tears. Karen, I concur with the other two board members on what they said. That you are a fighter. You're fair. Hopefully you've set a new role model for the board and how we react in the future. And we're all going to be thinking about you. But on the other hand, you still have 5 months left. So
thank you. Yes, that's right. There's a lot of work for all of us to do between now and May. That's for sure. But yeah,
you will be missed. Come June.
And just so people know, it's Joe and I are starting a new chapter. We're actually looking at moving, so that's why I cannot run again.
Yep.
But again, it's been a real pleasure. It really has. It's been challenging at times, of course, but it's been a pleasure and an honor.
But none of us brought her to tears, though.
Nope. Hey, after so many years,
we got 5 months. We'll come up with something. Don't worry.
All right. Well, now that I'm I don't know. No, I know. I have one more announcement to read, so let's get on with it. But again, thank you, everyone. So the last I have two more announcements. The next one is regarding the Charlton Reyes Foundation. So it's from them. They said, due to the COVID pandemic, the Charlton Reyes Foundation will not be able to have our annual Taste of the Towns. This was our main fundraiser, so now we must look at alternate fundraising. We will continue with the lottery calendar and draw names in March. Lottery calendars are just $10 each and are available at the Charlton Senior Center or download from the Reyes website at www.reascharlton.org. Last year, the Charlton Reyes Foundation awarded 36 qualifying senior citizens with heating cooling assistance totaling $13,150. That's fabulous. Reyes is now taking applications for the 2020 and 2021 heating season, which began on October 1st and will run until March 31st. Assistance for this program would not be possible if it weren't for our annual fundraisers and the generous donations of local businesses, organizations, and individuals. Thank you for your support, and please know your donation can make a difference in the lives of our most vulnerable citizens. If you need assistance or you know someone who does, please call 508-868-5289. If you'd like to send a donation, please address it to Charlton Reyes Foundation, P.O. Box 793, Charlton, Mass. 01507. The Charlton Reyes Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization providing qualifying senior citizens in the town of Charlton with energy assistance, including heat during the winter months and air conditioning or support with electric bills during the hot summer months. And then they want me to read, I'm going to go over the members of the board of directors. But before I do, I know I speak for the rest of the board in this case in thanking all the volunteers for their efforts on behalf of our residents. So the board of directors are Deborah Cheslack, Ed Cheslack, Michael Cunningham, Ray Delisle, Carl Ekman, Darlene Emka Rollins, Dorothy LaChance, Elaine Mitrius, Catherine Parasol, Jean Vincent, and Sabrina Webb. Again, many thanks to you all. And then finally, the last announcement that I have, the town hall will be closed on Monday, January 18th, 2021, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, rather. That's all I have. Anyone else? David?
Yeah, just a quick, as I told you, I would make the announcement. There's a lot of people on as well. I have to leave approximately 6:50ish, 50-ish for dementia training for work tonight. So so you have the time I leave the record. I'll type in the chat box, I left for work. So you'll have the time for the minutes, what time I had to leave.
All right. Thank you, David, and have a good evening.
Thank you. And then everyone knows that my window goes dark because I have work training tonight.
Gotcha. All right. Next item. Well, actually, let's open this up to open the public forum. So if there's anyone out there who wanted to speak at this time, Andrew, are you seeing anyone?
Yeah, I see one here for Lori Degnan. Give me 1 second.
All right. Lori, can you hear us?
Oh, what did I raise my hand?
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry. That was a mistake.
Did you just want to come on and say hello to all of us?
Hi, Lori.
I was just waving hi to everyone. Sorry.
Or anything
hello.
going on in solar? I don't know. Just make something up. I don't know.
Sorry. I'll unmute. Sorry.
All right. Thank you. Nice chatting with you. All right. Anyone else out there want to speak?
Again, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen, you're on.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. Yep. Hi, Kristen.
Yeah,
Can you
this is
again?
Kristen Costigian from Charlton. I just wanted to thank Karen for her service to the town. She's been instrumental in a lot of initiatives here, and she will be sorely missed. So thank you, Karen, for all your time and dedication and efforts. Much, much appreciated.
I appreciate that. Thank you for your kind words, Kristen. And thank you for what you do too. Anything else?
That's all.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Andrew, anyone else?
Nope, that's all I see right now.
All right. If the board, if we don't have any other announcements, we will move on down to appointment and resignations. We have municipal building committee appointment. Andrew?
At the board's December 15, 2020 meeting, the board discussed the makeup of the municipal building committee and made a motion to change one of the board of selectmen members with an additional municipal employee from the town. I reached out to departments for interest, and interim police chief Dowd is recommending the board appoint Derek Gaylord to the committee. I'd recommend the board make the appointment.
So moved, but he needs better hobbies.
Have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll do this again by roll call. Steve?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And well, thank you to Derek. And any other comments before we move on? Okay. All right, thank you very much. So next, actually, look, I think we're right on time for our next order of business, which is scheduled appointment, 6:45 p.m. poll hearing, Oxford Road. And Bill, please don't say anything and jinx us, okay?
Attached, you will find a request from National Grid seeking to install one SO pole on Oxford Road and an anchor to provide structural support to existing pole 55 due to a tree guy removal. Also attached is a notice that was sent to the abutters. This request has been forwarded and approved by both the interim police chief and DPW superintendent. No comments or concerns have been received. The chairman should open the public hearing by reading the notice as sent to the abutters.
All right, then that's what I shall do. So before me is a memo or a letter we sent dated January 4th, 2021. Public hearing notice. The Charlton Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, January 12th, 2021 at 6:45 p.m. via Zoom webinar to act on a request from Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid, requesting permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way. Oxford Road, National Grid to install one SO pole on Oxford Road beginning at a point approximately 82 feet east of the center line of the intersection of Collicum Drive and Oxford Road. National Grid to install a new SO pole and anchor to provide structural support to existing pole 55 due to a tree guy removal. They are also seeking permission to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as each of said petitioners may desire for distributing purposes. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should appear on the date and time specified via Zoom or submit concerns in writing. So do we know if anyone is here? Andrew?
See somebody from National Grid that's in the attendees. I don't know. Would you like to see if they like to be recognized?
Yes, they do, don't they? Or
All right. Second.
Hi, this is Laura with National Grid.
hi, Laura.
Hey. So I don't have anything to add other than you all read everything, so I really don't need to add anything other than what is written on the paper that y'all have.
Nothing else to add. Okay.
No, ma'am. Do you have any questions for me?
I do not. Board members, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good, Madam Chair.
All right.
Madam Chair, if there's no comments or questions from the viewing audience, I'd make a motion to move the public, to close the public hearing.
Okay. Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right.
Sorry,
Any,
Steve.
any discussion? Hearing none, we will take a vote. David?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. It is now, the hearing is now closed.
And Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the poll position.
All right. Motion. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Bill?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Votes aye. It passes. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Have a good
Laura.
evening.
Have a nice night.
Have a good evening, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're moving along so quickly. Maybe we'll zip down past FinCom unless we have everyone from FinCom on, which they're probably not because they're scheduled for 7, right, Andrew?
Yeah, it's a scheduled appointment, so let's we'll come back.
So we'll skip down to new business. We don't have anything under. Old business, reconstitute stipend advisory committee and appointments. Andrew?
At the board's December 15th, 2020 meeting, Selectman Borowski asked to reconstitute the stipend advisory committee. We were asked to reach out to those that were on the committee to see if they were still interested. The following would like to remain on the committee: Gene Vincent, Frank Morrell, Dick Vaughn, and Robert Leary. For information, the original committee was formed in 2018 and consisted of 2 current board committee members, 3 citizens at large, 1 member of the planning board, and the human resources director, but no action was ever taken. The above 4 members were the only ones that had any interest in being appointed to the committee. At a joint meeting with the Finance Committee on May 27, 2020, it was mentioned that stipends needed to be looked at. Selectman Borowski volunteered to sit on this committee as well as the board made the motion for him to do so. The board should make a motion to reconstitute the committee and appoint and decide if the 4 members are enough, along with the Human Resources Director and Selectman Borowski. I'll be happy to work with them and set up their first meeting.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. And before we proceed, I just want to welcome Select Board Member Mrs. Ridlack. Welcome.
Thank you. I apologize for being late.
No,
Work
I'm
ran late tonight.
not a problem, but I'm just mentioning it so it's reflected in the minutes. That's all. Not a problem at all. All right. Action by the board.
Yeah, so Madam Chair, just briefly, again, as a reminder to those viewing, really the catalyst for this was a review of what the different boards and committees currently get for they're really minor stipends at the end of the day, but really to make sure that there's parity across the board and to see if potentially it makes sense to adjust them either up or down, quite frankly, to see what makes sense for the best interest of the residents of town. Raising the stipend could potentially attract more candidates. However, at the same time, I think there has to be some equality amongst boards so that one board stipend, even though it's more symbolic, isn't necessarily much higher than the others. So the 4 people who volunteered, I'm very appreciative of, and we could always add more people if you like, or we can go with those 4 and me, and we can come back probably relatively quickly for a recommendation to potentially even fit into this year's annual budget for a vote at town meeting. That would be the goal. But anyway, that's where I'm going with it. I will do as the board wishes.
I think that it's a great idea. And Bill, thank you for kind of heading this up. Being on other boards, I kind of have seen the big differences in it. And if it should be based on the amount of time that's, spent to prep and these meetings, just like a logical way. It shouldn't be too much of, kind of like throwing the dart on the board and, you get that number. So I appreciate that. And I guess, can I make a motion to go ahead and reconstitute the board?
I'll
Committee
second.
and the appointees. I think, is that what you're looking for,
Including
Andrew?
including the appointees that Andrew had mentioned.
So we have a
Yeah,
motion in a second, Bill, right?
Yes, Karen, please.
And further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do our roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Bill, David?
Aye.
And Patsy?
I
All right, chair votes aye, passes. And thank you, but goodbye, David and Andrew. Thank you for offering to help set up the first meeting with the committee. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Andrew, I'll ping you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Rock and roll. Thank you, everybody.
All right, since we still have a little bit of time before we meet with FinCom, which is at 7 o'clock, we'll move on to the Human Resource Assistant. Andrew?
Back in September, we had presented an administrative restructuring plan that would address operational concerns in the treasurer, collector, and HR offices. At that time, the board decided to not move forward with the plan as proposed, citing budgetary concerns during the pandemic. In order to alleviate the immediate concerns at the time, we've moved forward with hiring a part-time collection assistant for the treasurer collector's office as long as CARES funding would cover the position, and temporarily reallocated confidential library staff to the HR office until the end of December to help address a significant backlog in critical duties. At your last meeting, I noted that I would be asking the board to consider allowing us to proceed with permanently filling the HR assistant position within the allocated FY21 budget. Since the inception of the HR department in the Charlton bylaws, there's always been 2 employees in that department, a 30-hour per week assistant and a 40-hour per week department head. Currently, the HR department manages the employee records, benefits, EAP, FMLA, retirement, and contracts for 120 regular employees, senior tax workers, election workers, and board and committee members, along with seasonal workers and retirees. This department is also charged with employee recruitment and onboarding for employee vacancies, as well as serve as mediator in employee-employer disputes. Ideally, our goal would be to move payroll management to this office as well and provide direct management for pay functions with benefit management. We feel strongly that placing this responsibility on one individual without stable administrative support is a significant liability to the town, and ask the board to consider allowing us to move forward with filling this vacancy. The funding for this position is already in place to maintain proper staffing levels. What are the wishes of the board?
So I will open this up for discussion.
Okay, through the chair. I actually, this morning, I attempted to send an email asking for Mary to do some research and figure out what other towns had. And I just looked and it didn't go through. It's sitting in my drafts. Sometimes my phone just works like that with town email, and that was my fault. Because I wanted to see what other towns are doing and how they're managing it. I know currently we have other employees dealing with the payroll piece. And now if we're taking that payroll a piece from other departments and we move it to HR, are we like, do we have, I just want to understand, like, I want to see the data behind it and do we actually need it and what other towns are doing? When I first ran, one of my big concerns was, increasing headcount just to add another person. So again, that's my opinion. I would like to have that information before we voted on bringing another person on. I'm sorry, the stats, how many, the size of the amount of employees in a town versus the staffing in HR. And factoring in that payroll is currently not being done by HR.
Bill, Steve, do you have any comments?
I mean, I'm looking forward to the discussion, but generally, whenever my peers want more information, as long as something's not pressing, I'd rather defer. So yeah, Patsy, I'm fine with waiting until you get what you need.
Steve?
Well, right now we're backfilling it with a position from the library that's closed, correct?
Correct. But we understand that it's going to take a little while, unfortunately, as soon as you get the authorization to move ahead with the position, it's not going to be immediately filled. It'll take us some time to fill the position. So we want to get ahead of it before the library begins its reopening process and we lose somebody in that office and fall further behind.
So I think my other question would be, what would have happened to that library person if we didn't have this backfill position available to them? Would they have gotten laid off, or the library's closed, right? I'm asking.
Andrew, I'm assuming that's directed your way.
To Andrew, yes, absolutely.
I'm sure the library director would find additional duties within the library for that person to be doing. Thankfully, that they're managing their staff with what they have and able to allow us to use her as we need her. I do see Cheryl has her hand up if you'd like to.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. I just wanted to say, to answer Mr. Coronis's question, because my administrative assistant is over there part-time now, some of the duties that she normally would do at the library are kind of falling through the cracks. So it's not that she would not have anything to do if she was over here full-time. There's still plenty of things for her to do. The piece that's missing from her job right now, where the library is closed to the public, is her circulation desk duties. Normally we have 2 people at each circulation desk when the library is open. Because we're doing just lobby pickup right now and not having people come in the building, I only need 1 person at the circulation desk at this time. So a lot of that would have been time at the circulation desk that I don't need her for now. And that's why I had suggested that maybe this could work out for the short term until we reopen again.
Anyone else?
Okay. Cheryl, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. We always appreciate it. I know you're usually on these meetings and it's appreciated. Any other questions for Cheryl?
I'll go, Cheryl. Thanks, Cheryl.
Welcome.
So Karen,
I'm-
what I'd probably recommend is that, if select person Ridlack's cool, that we wait until we get the information back that she requested. So either, next meeting or the meeting after. But I think it brings up a larger question when we think around our budget preparation and our conversations with FinCom we're going to start tonight around, do we need to start to adjust our service level agreements and expectations for staffing overall? And that's a much deeper conversation. I mean, I'm not recommending layoffs, so everyone take a deep breath. But, is there, is it going to be required based upon budgetary constraints and all of our needs, wants, and desires to start to shuffle staff around and not necessarily add incremental? Again, I don't have a view on it right now. It's really, I think we just have to have have a larger conversation about not just this piece, but potentially others as well. So I think it makes sense to probably wait at least a couple of weeks. If that's cool, yeah.
Yep, that's what I just want to make informed decisions. Sometimes it's easy to move some things around versus bring on somebody new. Especially now we have COVID, and that's a lot of issues that it's hard to make a decision based on the current situation and the needs around that without, we have to consider the actual, what's going to happen next year, not current.
All right, so I'm hearing, we will put this on a future agenda. Andrew?
Yeah, I'll see what Selectman Ridlack's questions are and try to get those answered.
Right, so what I want to see is comparable towns, the size of the like basic town, how big is the town, how many employees they have, and what's the size of their HR department, and hopefully some of that data is attainable easily. And noting that the payroll piece is not being handled by our HR. We had factor that into, but we'll talk. Andrew, I'll call and tell you, or put together an email with the details.
All right.
Yeah. I through the chair, I'd like to add. If we put this on another meeting, let's put it on a near future meeting. We don't have to kick this.
Oh, we can't. Yeah.
No, we can't.
But let's gather some data and
Yeah, we shouldn't, in my opinion.
Soon. Right.
I agree, Steve. I think, we should try to resolve this at our next meeting in a couple of weeks, and at the furthest out we want to go is another couple of meetings. So, all right, excellent.
Which is probably a nice segue, Madam Chair, into the conversation with the Finance Committee.
I do believe so, Mr. Dabrowski. So why don't we move back up for those who may be just joining us. We are now going up to our 7 o'clock appointment with the Finance Committee. And I would ask if the Chairman Kamasi, if you're on, to join us and, call your meeting to order. And if you have, the minutes or whatever you need to do, and then we'll move forward together.
Okay.
Vote everybody up to allow them to talk. So.
Yeah, I cannot see who from my committee is on. I can only see the selectmen, Andrew. So yeah. You'll have to tell me, do I have a quorum?
So I think I have everybody who I'm able to identify by name, but if there's anybody on the
could you read out the names, because again we can't see even the names.
Okay. Well, so far I have you, Joe Spiewak, John Grondowski, Kristen Castigian, and then Donna Folio on here. But
okay.
I'm just looking at if there's any other names that I might not recognize it by the screen name that's listed, and you haven't been promoted up yet. If you could just raise your hand, and I'll try to get you.
All right. Well, you've at least given me 4, which gives me quorum.
Perfect.
Okay. So I will call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. And we will, everybody's got it just to get us formalized meetings from the minutes from our last meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting, which Donna had put into our Dropbox folder. Is there any discussion on the minutes? There being none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, so moved.
Christian moves. Is there a second?
I'll second Hank. It's Joe.
Yeah, Joe seconds. All right. Any other discussions? There being none, all those in favor will say yes in a roll call vote. Joe,
Yes.
John,
Abstain.
abstain, Christian,
Yes.
I vote yes. That's 3. That's a majority. It passes. All right, so next, Karen, I do want to say, I heard, I logged in early. I heard all the nice things said about you and your decision not to stay. I also am sorry to hear that, because it also means, it sounds like I'm going to lose a vice chairman of the finance committee. Okay, if he goes with you, unless Joe, you're sticking
Yeah,
around.
he is
while
planning
Karen
on,
moves.
we are staying together, Hank, so.
Oh, okay, all right, so I guess I'm gonna have to start searching, okay. All right, so what we wanted to talk about, if you remember on our goals sheet, we had talked about at least touching base with the Board of Selectmen at the beginning of the budget season. And believe it or not, that season starts next week. So our intention, and we will send the agendas out to everybody with the links to the Zoom meeting. Our intention is to meet on January 20th with the police, fire, Board of Appeals, technology departments. On Wednesday, February 17th, we will be meeting with cemetery, assessors, treasurer collector, the DPW, recreation, and the building department. And on Wednesday, March 17th, we will be meeting with the Board of Health, the Planning Board, Water and Sewer, Library, Conservation, and the Town Administrator. So that's our schedule. And Andrew was nice enough to put it up for us there. It looks like that's the annual schedule. So if you could all take a look at that, right? Our meeting schedule is in conjunction with our normal. We're trying to always meet the 3rd Wednesday of every month. So that's how we're going to set these up. There is the budget schedule for the year. When we'd like to meet. So here we are on the week of January 1st, where you're going to approve this budget schedule, and you're also going to open up the warrant. And what I'd like to do right now is talk about what your priorities would be in terms of the upcoming budget and what you'd like to see us focus on.
Madam Chair?
Yep, Bill?
Hey, quick thing. Am I missing it? Is there a meeting with the school committee on here somewhere?
No, it is not scheduled. Andrew?
I just forgot to put it on, but we'll schedule a time.
Yeah.
No worries. No, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, we had talked about it last week, Bill, and Andrew was going to coordinate with them and pick out a date.
No, that's okay. As long as we have it, queued up somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, I want to schedule that after this one, so that way.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I just want to make sure we don't lose sight of it.
Yeah,
So
we've also got to get the Bay Path in there too. They're not on a
yeah.
schedule right now, so.
Yeah, good point. So, Karen, you want me to start? Or you want someone else to start? I'm fine either way.
If you want a motion to approve the calendar with the, what you just had
Sure.
mentioned with the schools, we know we need to put them in here as well.
Sure. All right. So let's start with the calendar, and I motion to approve this year's budget calendar. Patsy, you're on mute.
Right, but that I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do the roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Patsy?
Aye.
And I vote aye, passes. Hank, do you want to vote on that?
Finance Committee? Motion to approve the budget schedule as presented by the Board of Selectmen. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Ron makes it. Second.
Second.
Christian seconds. Any discussion? All right, roll call vote. Yes to approve, no to disapprove. Joe, yes or no?
Yes.
John, yes or no?
Yes.
Christian, yes or no?
Yes.
I vote yes. That's 4-4. Yeah, 4-4. That is approved.
Cool.
Great.
So-
Next.
So
Oh,
next
sorry.
is again, do you guys have any particular direction you want us to go in? Remember that we had talked last year about a no increase in the budget? Are we going to ask people to shoot for that same, other than stipulated contract increases? Do we feel that there's going to be some growth and we can allow people to do a little bit more? Andrew, why don't you give us your take? I mean, you're already talking with some people, I'm assuming. You know of any outstanding or issues that are going to come up that we got to be aware of?
As far as revenues are concerned, I think that overall throughout the pandemic, we have maintained a pretty strong financial position overall compared to other other towns may have been. We don't necessarily have the same types of industries in town that are as susceptible to the constraints of the pandemic. And in fact, we've seen proposals for industries that would see tremendous growth following, including new warehousing projects. We've seen a lot of potential new growth on the Hill, and even in our last year's budget, our new growth projections in comparison to the FY21 budget were, I believe, and Donna, correct me if I'm wrong, about $300,000 under what our actual new growth numbers were. So, overall, I believe that we're in a very healthy financial position as we look forward, and we're just we're keeping a close eye on that, and especially with the state revenues. Thankfully, we don't rely heavily on state revenue when we set our state or our town budget. It's about $1 million of the overall $32 million budget. So in all, I think that we're really in a good position as we move forward. It's really going to be a matter of working with the schools, seeing what their impacts are going to be from from any state budgetary impacts and how that trickles down to the towns.
Board members?
So Karen, through you.
Yeah, Bill.
So last year, as Hank mentioned, we basically were talking around level services, which generally speaking, I would recommend again this year. Last year, we allowed for a dispatcher. This year, a majority of the board has already given Superintendent Foskett approval to find another full-time associate, which I would like to have continue into next year as well. Outside of that, unless it's public safety, so Chief Knopf and or Acting Chief Dowd, I'm going to have a real hard time saying yes. I'm not saying it's an absolute, but just the conversation we were just having around adding to HR, for example, I think it's going to have to be a real great business case to make it happen. The other piece I think we all need to have a conversation about, actually probably in the next month, is we all know what happened with the public safety building. Now, the fire station is going to come back in front of us at some point, whether it's this year or basically within the next 18 months, the latest. We're having another conversation about it and more votes. But we have to invest in the police station then. So that means either through our operating budget and or some type of significant amount of free cash funding. The police department's going to need some work done. So whether we handle that in our operating budget or whether we handle it in the fall for free cash, when we think around our budget planning, I think every year now on a go-forward basis, we're going to have to cull off some of that herd to say, this money has to go to make the police station safer. So as we have these conversations, when we think around it, whether it's new people, new services, no whatever, unless that somehow includes improvements to the police station for their safety, I'm not going to go for it. So that's my 2 cents, and I'll be quiet for now.
I just always remember, Bill, that we always do things like roofs and things like that in the capital budget in October.
Yep.
Rarely have we ever done that in an operating.
No, Hank, and I'm with you on that, and that's why I hedge it to say we could take care of it during October in free cash, but I think we are living in extraordinary times now, and that we have to at least consider looking at things within or some type of other line item within the operating budget to at least for consideration to start to fix up the police building. But again, that's up to the majority of all of us.
Yep.
Through the
Betsy?
chair, I agree with Bill. I think we need to be as conservative as possible and make sure that we have, you know, put us in a good position. We all know that the police station is gonna need a decent amount of funding. I don't even know if we know that solid number, but it would be better if we budgeted for that instead of having it, you know, start looking to borrow more or anything else. Bill said it perfectly. I absolutely agree. Let's, you know, our job is to budget wisely and let's be conservative.
Yep, no,
Steve?
that's good point, Patsy.
Through the
Steve,
chair,
did you-
yeah, I agree with Bill and Patsy that if, you know, if we're looking at a fire station only, certainly we still have a police station that needs some work. Can we get a conservative number? Like I'd hate to call it a bare bones number to get the police station up to par?
I think it was like 4 or 5 million, Steve, back in the day. No, I'm being dead serious. I think that's what they came back with, because that was the argument around keeping the public safety building as one, because for all intents and purposes, it was kind of a wash. So,
but if you take
the exact number is, but it's going to be pretty big.
If you take that number, if you take the public safety building number out of it, what's a realistic number? Has anybody looked at it? I'm like, what do we? I know.
Oh no, Steve, I'm being serious. Like that's what, again, and Karen, I'm not sure if you or Joe or somebody remember, but I thought that the architects came back and said to really bring it up to code and what it's supposed to be, it was legit between 3 and 5 million. Now, I'm not saying we do all that in 1 year, but we have to start a plan on that.
I believe you're right, Bill. I remember the slide actually, and I'm sure there's someone on here who probably remembers it exactly. But, you know, again, this is one of the things that we were using to inform the public that if we don't do this, this is what's going to have to happen, because it's about keeping our employees safe and giving them a good working environment that they deserve. So yeah, and we need a plan. We need a capital improvement plan, and we need numbers, and then we can move forward. Anyone else? Hank, you want to go over to your group?
Well, yeah, and does it, just one thing I just want to touch on the public safety building that you're going to have to think of, and I don't think it's our call, but so we borrowed X amount of dollars to design the public safety building, right? $1.4 million, I think it was. We've spent so far all but 100 and some odd thousand of it. If you're going to continue on what, and this is where I don't know where it's going. Is it going to go to just the fire station? Is it going to go to just whatever? But at some point, you're going to probably have to raise more money to keep paying those architectural fees. Personally, I don't think those should be out of operating. You're going to have to at some point look, do you extend or do you borrow more against what's already been allocated or approved of? I shouldn't say allocated, approved by town meeting. But again, that's your call. Just keep it in the back of your mind. I'm just saying that I don't see us coming up with any more money in that account to pay for the note that we've already taken out. That's just one point, okay? Anybody in the committee got something they want to bring up?
Okay,
Oh, John, Christian?
I just want to dovetail off of that, conversation real quick, because I did have a chance to talk with Ron Barton today, about what are our options to kind of get us between now and when we can get some sort of appropriation to kind of continue the work of the fire station building committee with some sort of professional technical assistance. And I did want to bring up, that we do have the Casella $100,000 that was given for capital donation or municipal building capital improvements. And I wanted to at least present that to the board and finance committee to see if that is a funding source that you want to consider for them to continue their work until like the next town meeting, or if you wanted to just work without consulting until a subsequent town meeting can
I'll be honest with you, Andrew, before I would say that I would support the spending of any more money, I'd like to see what direction they're headed at. I don't want to just say, yeah, let's throw another 100,000 into that architectural account and not know where they're going. Are they going police station? Are they going fire station? They're going public safety? Just a question.
So
Through the chair,
Yep.
what's happening in the meantime? So, I mean, we've all seen the fire stations and the situation that they're in. We need to kind of move this along, because do we have to invest any more money into what we have in the meantime to make sure that everybody's safe, and that, we're doing, we're being responsible? So does anybody have any idea about, and I'm totally a layman, I don't know, but are we talking about additional expenses for that while we're waiting for all the other things?
Patsy, I will, sorry, Karen, through you. Patsy, I will say, we've got the chief's 5-year capital. In fact, I think he gave us a 10-year capital budget, okay? And I honestly I don't see anything in there that indicated any kind of physical structure. It was basically equipment. It was, he knows when he'll need a new pumper. He knows when he'll need, a new truck or some other piece of equipment. I don't remember there being anything in there, hey, I need a new roof, or I need a new garage.
Was that made considering that we were going to get the new public safety building, though? Is there anything?
This was submitted a year ago or 6 months ago. You're right.
So,
But Andrew, you look like you have something you want to say?
yeah, I mean, in talking with Chief Knopf, the primary concern without a final resolution as to where we're going with the fire station, really within sight, is the condition of Station 2. If you go past Station 2, it's basically at a bias. You don't know if it's gonna, cave in tomorrow. If you really look at it, they have consistent flooding issues. It's not, there's no simple fix there other than knocking the building down and rebuilding it. So unless we have a specific guidance of saying this is what our plan is, it'll be a building of this size, it's going here, we're going forward with it. That's our primary concern. And trying to get really, a plan quickly put together before that really becomes a liability to us, because we really don't, if we lose that building, we have nowhere to put that apparatus. There's no extra bay capacity somewhere that we can just put additional fire apparatus right now.
So I would like to just chime in here. At a recent meeting, when we formed the new fire station committee meeting, I thought we left it that, the group would get together, and I hope they do so sooner rather than later. And, put all options out there, come back to the Board of Selectmen and FinCom with, here's plan A or option A, B, C, and D, the pros, the cons, the data points, so we can all make an informed decision and agree the best path forward. But again, that really needs to have, not to put pressure on people, but could you please get together and meet and come back and give us our options, because we really need that information so we can all agree on how best to move forward. Did I miss something? That's the plan, right? And hopefully they'll come back within a month, I hope. Because I actually thought it would have been like next week or tonight, but I understand that life happens and COVID happens, but we really need to move forward and know what we're doing and agree on how to move forward. Yes, no, someone talk.
Yeah, no, you're.
No, yeah, Karen, I think you're right on.
Yep. I agree.
But Patsy, but you bring up an excellent point, because it's a very similar thing of, in the absence of a plan for a new building right now, we have to make sure that especially the police department is going to be taken care of, because we are going to have a plan for the fire department. But if that for some reason doesn't pass, then that's going to be the same exact scenario that where you have to come up with plan B to make sure that those people are safe and sound. So I don't know. It's not fun times.
No. No, and the only other, there's going to be a few places, and we'll be in touch, that we're going to be looking for your guidance on how much budget, probably more from me, as much from Andrew as anybody else, but there are certain line items that are kind of up to you. Last year, we put some money aside for legal fees for this LP transfer station. I don't know how much has been expended so far. Do you want to redo that? Yeah, I've kind of lost track of where that whole project or that whole thing went. So those are the kinds of issues I'm just bringing up, that we're going to be saying, okay, where do you guys want to see us go with this kind of stuff? Because you'll know better what we're going to be faced with, either with legal bills or engineering bills or whatever. All right.
No,
So we'll
yeah.
work through that. We'll work through that.
No, Hank, you're right on. And actually somewhat related, Andrew, when you talk to the superintendents of the respective schools, can you really push them for their, even a draft capital plan? So we have some idea of what they're going to be asking for big expenditure over the next few years?
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, and don't forget the regional schools are no longer constrained by a Prop 2.5 budget constraint that we had put on, and we said that was your money for 3 years. Well, this is the 4th year, so we don't know where that's going.
Any other action that we need to do tonight, Andrew?
No, I think you need, sorry if I missed this, but open the annual town meeting warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the annual town meeting warrant. Any discussion? Hearing none. Steve?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Patsy?
Aye.
I vote aye. It passes. Thank you.
All right, can we close our meeting if we're done? You all set with
Go
that,
for it.
Karen?
Yeah, thank you, Hank, and
Okay.
thank you all for joining us tonight. It's appreciated.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the finance committee meeting. Joe, do you make that motion?
So moved.
Christian, do you second it?
I do. Second.
Good. All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor, yes to approve, no to disapprove. Joe, yes or no?
Yes.
John, yes or no?
Yes.
Christian, yes or no?
Yes.
I vote yes. That's 4 votes. It is a motion. Thank you very much for allowing us to join you tonight.
Oh, thanks for joining us. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
Okay, we'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Hank looked quite dapper tonight, didn't he, with his image?
All right, so I believe we're bouncing all over, but we are now under new business, which I don't see anything. So we will go back to the only item that's remaining under old business would be item number 3, and that would be the police chief search. Andrew?
Right. We were notified that the removal of the police chief from civil service has been executed by the governor. This special act was approved at the October 8th, 2019 special town meeting. Now that the governor has signed the law, the position of police chief is no longer under civil service. I recommend that the recruitment of the police chief be conducted in accordance with the personnel policies. The personnel policy relative to recruitment dictates a minimum of a 7-day recruitment process. However, this recruitment may be waived if a position is to be filled by an internal candidate. How would the board like to proceed?
Board?
Madam Chair, first, I want to thank State Senator Goby and Representatives Durant and Frost for helping us push that through. I know with COVID, things can sometimes take longer than we want. So it was nice to see that passed. Second, just for discussion purposes, I know we've had some like ad hoc conversations or prior meetings, but to give everybody enough of time, my discussion point would be that we open it up, I think as we voted on before, internal, but now I'd say sergeant level and above, and to provide resumes, cover letters, whatever information that the respective officers would like to provide to us by January 29th. So that gives everybody 2.5 weeks to get it into Andrew, just to make it fair. Then I figure we can schedule interviews weeks during our meetings in February. And then hopefully, assuming that we like one of the candidates by end of February, that we could make a determination. But that would be my 2 cents.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sorry, that
Right.
actually wasn't a motion yet, but I'm happy to
Oh.
make it a motion.
Oh.
No. I just didn't want to like jump the gun, but I mean,
All right, so if,
No,
we'll make that. Andrew, is there any reason that should not be a motion? Did you want to add anything, any suggestions? We're good?
It works.
All right. So Bill, want to make that a motion?
you know what,
And
I'll,
Patsy?
I'll make that a motion, and then if somebody wants a second for discussion or not.
Right, I
Patsy?
second it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, and I will now open it up for discussion. Any further discussion?
I actually question if we need to go that long. I mean, if our bylaws are 7 or 14 days, 7 days for other applicants to come in. I mean, when we did this before, we gave 7 days and we got one applicant, but then we had to pull back because we realized the state hadn't signed off on what they had to do. But do we need to go that long? If we're looking internally, which we've already voted on as a board, do we need to go more than 7 days? I mean, other people have had a lot of time to think about this.
So Steve, I'll meet you in the middle on that one. And if you wanted, I would amend my motion to say the 22nd. So that would give everybody basically a week and a half minus Martin Luther King Day. So
What is the standard amount of time that we advertise a normal position, a regular position?
Typically 2 weeks, even though the policy is set, minimum of 7.
I think the 22nd is a good compromise, but that's my 2 cents. Go ahead, Patsy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's fine. The 22nd is fine.
all right. Before I amend my motion officially, my only other question is, I said sergeant and above. Is there any reason why we would not want to open that up even more? My preference is sergeant and above, but there may be other reasons why we want to open that up to an even larger audience. Again, still internal, but again, I'm thinking sergeant and above, but I'm amenable to whatever the board wants to do on this one.
I think that discussion is going to be more in depth when we need to backfill a certain position, potentially. That's a whole different conversation. If we end up,
sorry, Steve.
If we end up potentially backfilling a lieutenant position, that's a whole different discussion.
No, Steve, I'm sorry. I probably did not explain myself properly. Just to re-baseline, I was thinking sergeant level and above to apply for the chief's position.
Correct.
But would we want to open it up even further? Meaning, would people below the current rank of sergeant be able to apply for the chief's position as well?
Yes, I think that's already in. That was the thought process, right?
Well, my initial motion was those at sergeant level and above. So that would limit it. So your non-sergeant patrol officers, for example, under my current motion would not be able to apply for chief. Because I think command staff and above. However, I'm very amenable and willing to modify that to say basically anyone within the Charlton police force could apply for chief. Whatever the board wants to do, I'm happy to do that one.
And I would ask Andrew, I'm going to put you on the spot and test you here, but can you just go, so we're all on the same page, the structure of the police department right now?
Yeah, so I mean, basically it's police chief, lieutenant, sergeant, and patrolman.
And how many in each? Well, obviously we know how many's in some positions, but what are we looking at?
I believe it's about 26 total members. So, let's just say 6 command staff level and 20 patrolmen.
Okay, thank you. Now, so knowing that information, I don't know if that helps you gentlemen or not, but
it does.
That's why I had initially made the motion for command staff and above, because not to take anything away from the non-command staff. However, I think within that smaller group, there are multiple candidates who are qualified to be chief.
Andrew, what's your recommendation?
I'd recommend they consider anybody at a command staff level.
So that being said, for discussion purposes, I will amend my motion, if Patsy, if you're okay with it, to basically keep it at command staff and above, but resumes at basically some type of letter of interest along with supporting information is due by end of day Friday, January 22nd.
Patsy, is that a second? Yes?
Yep, I second that. That's fine.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. Steve,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Patsy,
Aye.
I vote aye, passes. Andrew, thank you for taking care of that for us.
So Karen, one quick thing on that one, just as a follow-up.
Sure.
Since I can't remember when we're meeting again. We're meeting on the 26th, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure then. I would recommend then that we tentatively schedule the first group, if not, depending upon of interviews, so people are aware for our first in February, which would be February 9th, I'd assume. Again, assuming all of the board members are. So just to kind of put that bug in any applicant's ear to be available on February 9th, assuming my 4 other colleagues are available.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we shall now move on to Board of Selectmen committee reports. I know and the committees I'm on, we have nothing to report. Anyone else?
Same thing, LNG, we're supposed to have an LNG meeting, but quorum wasn't met, so there will be one on Thursday. And I will share whatever comes to that with the board when at our next meeting.
Yeah,
All
hopefully
right, so
we can discuss that.
Andrew, I didn't hear that.
What's that?
I didn't hear that. Were you talking?
I was just saying that, hopefully, depending on how the LNG committee goes, that we'll have something to kind of get to the board by the next meeting.
All right.
Hey, Karen, not to hit a hornet's nest, but has the Economic Development Committee met yet?
I was about to bring that up, Bill.
Oh, Steve, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Steve?
Andrew, I believe I've seen, it looks like there's going to be a meeting on the 19th.
Yes.
Yes. As a kickoff meeting.
Yes.
So we'll.
And I've asked this, and I'm just going to remind Andrew, could you please just list the committees under old business or committee reports rather, even if we pass over them, just as a visual. So it's kind of a nudge for, oh, look, we might be reporting on this, or geez, we have to meet, or it's good visual. At least it helps me. I don't know if it helps all of you, but
Well, that's a good idea.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
At least the major ones. Like I don't think that
Yeah.
we need an update on the Boston Post-Cane Committee.
Well, no.
Although actually, it might
No,
be
I
nice
hear
to
you.
actually
I
have
hear
some
you.
good news for people, but still, yeah.
I hear you. Yes, the major ones, agreed. All right, where are we? Oh, Board of Selectmen goals and objectives. We don't have anything under there. We have next, let's see, student select person report. Henry.
Perfect. I'll share my screen so you can all see it. And there we go. All right. So leaving off, for the past month, the schools have been in the hybrid learning model that I've outlined before, but there has been a little bit of discussion going forward. New state guidelines is mandating that we change it up a little bit. So we're going to look at a new model going forward, but there's a bit of debate before the break about what schools should do after holiday break, because a lot of people were concerned about the spikes. And so during a school committee meeting on December 30th, the school committee did not hold a vote whether to return back to remote learning. So we are currently in hybrid learning. Both the Charlton and Dudley Board of Selectmen urged the school to transition back to remote learning, but the school committee wanted to reiterate that there still has been no evidence of COVID transmission, The Board of Health during the meeting on the 30th did not provide any evidence on transmission of cases interschool. They only outlined possible spikes in the towns, and the nurses have been constantly tracking COVID, and about only 0.6% of students have been affected by COVID contact tracing or directly by the virus. And the school committee also believed that the hybrid learning is most beneficial to students' socio-emotional health, mental health. Being in school provides students a safe and warm environment with a meal. And the school committee didn't want to change the model on kids because they believe kids need a routine, especially since it's going to change soon. And it also helps the special education department the best. But to help stop the spread after break, they did cancel all extracurricular activities, so sports, musics, and along with Shepherd Hill, Bay Path also did not return to total remote learning, so they went hybrid as well, same as us. And after the vote occurred, the Charlton Board of Health wrote an article in the Telegram Gazette kind of condemning the school committee for not holding a vote. So looking forward towards the future, on January 6th, the school committee met and they started to introduce some new models to adhere to new DESE guidelines mandating 35 hours of remote of more in-person or live instruction. So at the meeting, they introduced 4 models. Some of them are kind of like a build off of the current hybrid model. Some of them change it up a little bit. So one of the models would just install afternoon classes for all students in the afternoon, and Wednesday will not be a kind of a free day. It'll be live classes in the morning. Model B switches it up a little bit more, where half the school would be in school for 2 full days on Monday, Tuesday, and then the other school would be in school for 2 full days on Thursday, Friday. And this would introduce lunch that we haven't had this year, and Wednesday will be live classes again. And Model C combines both cohorts for school every day in the morning, 7:45 to 11:15. So like the traditional half day, and then everyone has live classes in the afternoon. And Model D was just kind of like a normal school day, all cohorts. And each plan has kind of a varying social distance guidelines. So there's going to be a meeting tomorrow where they vote on the plan. So I'll let you know how they work all the students back and how that affects social distance and that. And some miscellaneous items. Not much is going on. There's no sports or music because the extracurriculars are on a pause. But the district is looking to hire a COVID coordinator to help the district organize itself and the models and all the logistics that goes with that going forward. And with the community, the National Honor Society completed its 12 Days of Christmas community service project, which is a huge success.
Oh, cool.
And that is it.
Thanks,
Thank
Henry. Any questions for Henry?
Henry, nice job.
Yeah, nice job. Do you know off
Nice
the top
job.
of your head, when will the school committee be meeting? Is it tomorrow? Do you know?
Tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Tomorrow at 7. All right, thank you.
I have one question for Henry, because I always like bugging him. He's such a handsome kid, and I just picking on him. Henry, so the school committee, I watched most of the last meeting, and there was a little bit of concern about the model they have been using all of this year, that we are one of 13 school districts in the state that are deficient in hours.
Yeah, so
classroom.
the current
there was some talk, and it was actually my son and some of his friends were saying like they're worried about having to go to summer school to make up those hours.
I have not heard anything about summer school, but definitely with the current model, we are short on the mandated number of hours. So that's why they introduced the 4 new models, and it has to be put into effect sometime in mid-January. So they're rushing to fix it.
Yeah. I just want to make sure everybody understands that. I don't think go to summer school.
No summer school.
That's why they put those other models up. And Henry, great job in spelling that out.
Yeah. No widespread summer school for the community.
No.
For everybody.
All right, so Henry, just to be clear, when they write this up in the paper for your friends, you are advocating for summer school for all your friends.
Yes.
That's it. Henry said yes. Henry said yeah.
Welcome to politics, Henry. That's what happens.
All right, all right. Where are we? We're almost done, actually. Thank you, Henry. Much appreciated. Andrew, you're up. The next is the town administrator report. Take it away.
So the board had, I know I'd asked for the fire station building committee to be on tonight's agenda, but the committee has not met yet. But they are scheduled to meet tomorrow night, so hopefully we'll have an update for the next meeting.
What time tomorrow, Andrew? Tomorrow night, what time?
Yes.
I missed that memo.
Sorry, let me just get it.
I think they asked me to be on there, right?
Yes, you are on the committee. It is.
You can tell me offline. It's fine. I just didn't want it to fall through the cracks because I didn't get that memo. So
5 o'clock. Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, I'll
Okay, you
get the info.
them as though like anyone's going to wake up at A and be like, let's talk public safety, people.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Woken
Go
up
ahead. I apologize, Andrew. Continue.
The goals and objectives. So, we have been keeping the list of the board's goals on each agenda. I think going forward, what I'll do is I'll list 1 or 2 goals for each month for discussion, action, and update as needed, and then just continually update the spreadsheet as we go along. So just looking to see if the board has any objection if we proceed that way.
Boyd?
No, I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'd still like to have us identify 3 to 5 ones that we say, hey, here's what we're going to do. But I mean, I think that works fine for me.
Okay. Yeah, I know the warrant's open, so if there's anything that we want to take action on to get to town meeting, it's got to be quick. So.
Yeah, and on that note, I just want to mention, because it was reflected in our minutes, the community feedback tool that me and Patsy and Andrew are working on or will be working on. I know Andrew did most of the work up front, but we will have that on the next meeting agenda because it's not done yet, but we didn't fall through the cracks. We will have that ready to go next meeting. Right, everyone?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And then just we had a resignation on the Water and Sewer Commission. We received notice that Phil Donahue had resigned as a Water Sewer Commissioner effective immediately. The commission has said that with the town election just a few months away, that there's no need to call a special election, and they'll wait until May for a new member. So thank you, Phil, for your service on the board, and we'll proceed from there. So that's all I have for right now.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for Andrew before we proceed?
No, I'm good.
All right. Next item on the agenda is other business unknown at time of posting. Anyone have anything? No?
Can
All
I
right.
can I go back again? I'm sorry, through the chair. Can we all sort of pick out our top? I'm just playing on what Bill said. Can we all sort of pick out our top 5 for our goals and objectives and see which ones kind of overlap with each other, and kind of make those our main focus, because we do have such a long list. Maybe that'll kind of help us think about the budgeting piece and an action plan. So could we all come to the next meeting with sort of like our top 5 and see which ones sort of match up, and that the decision will kind of be made for us there? Does that make sense?
Did we, Patsy, and I don't remember, I'm sorry. When we originally made the list or created the list, I thought we kind of ranked them 1, 2, and 3. Would that not dictate what's the important ones, or am I totally thinking of the year before?
No, I think they're ranked, but when we're talking, we're also mixing it kind of with the budget, like
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, we had kind of the way that was kind of handled was to identify what were priority ones from prior year goal establishments and what ones had just like completely fallen off the table or ones for still consideration. Patsy, I support that. If you guys want to actually even try to identify a few that you'd like and email me directly, I can try to compile them, and then
that's perfect.
And that's appropriate too. So I think if we did that, it would expedite it and solves that problem, and we can address it again sooner rather than later, which is always good. All right. And does everyone have, I know, I think it was attached last time, but everyone has the most recent list of goals and objectives?
Yes, it's
Or-
attached to our package.
I know. I just want to make sure people, if you need it separately, whatever, but all right,
It is.
got it. All right, so no other business? That means.
Motion to adjourn. No, I'm
What?
kidding.
Uh-oh. Go ahead, Bill, go ahead. Can handle it. It's only 10 of 8. This is like pretty early for us.
I was just like record.
All right, so the next meeting announcement, our next regular selectmen's meeting will be January 26, 2021 at 6:30 PM. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
All right, in all seriousness, motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none. Steve,
Aye.
Patsy,
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
I vote aye. We are officially adjourned at 7:50. Henry, nice seeing you. Andrew, thank you
Nice
for
seeing you.
your efforts, and everyone who tuned in tonight. Thank you very much.